One of the most talked about financial proposals in America is the so-called DOGE Dividend, a plan that promises to send $5,000 stimulus checks to taxpayers. It sounds amazing, but will it actually happen? Or even more importantly, should it happen? Or is this just another shiny object being thrown in front of the Trump administration? Let's break it down. Okay, first of all, what is the DOGE Dividend? The DOGE Dividend is a proposed government stimulus that would distribute a portion of the savings freed up by the Department of Government Efficiency to taxpayers. In other words, if DOGE can in fact cut wasteful government spending, they could pass a portion of those savings on to taxpayers in the form of a stimulus check. The mastermind behind this proposal is the CEO of the Azoria investment firm, James Fishback. He's the one who initially suggested that Americans could receive up to $5,000 per household. But where did he actually get that number from? And is that number set in stone? Well, his proposal is contingent on how much money DOGE can actually save. Here's how the math breaks down. DOGE is hoping to save $2 trillion over the next 18 months. 20% of those savings, or $400 billion, would be allocated to the DOGE dividend. When you divide that $400 billion among 80 million tax-paying households, that equals $5,000 per check. So that's how we get to that $5,000 number you've been hearing about in the news. But what if the savings aren't as high as expected? If DOGE only saves $1 trillion, your check drops to $2,500. If savings fall to $500 billion, you're looking at $1,250. And as of today, the DOGE website reports savings of only $115 billion, in which case the dividend check would be $142 per taxpayer. Probably not the life-changing stimulus check you were hoping for. And there's another huge problem with the DOGE dividend proposal. Despite all the talks of DOGE saving money, government spending is actually going up. According to the latest Congressional Budget Office report, the federal deficit increased by 5% in February due to a 7% rise in spending. So kind of hard to make the case that the federal government should be handing out DOGE dividend checks when the data shows that spending isn't actually being reduced. Republican Senator Ron Johnson out of Wisconsin recently commented on the proposed DOGE dividend. He said he'd be happy to send out a stimulus check once the government balances the budget. Well, guess what? We're about $2 trillion in annual federal spending away from pulling that off. And since any stimulus check would require authorization from Congress, I wouldn't plan on getting that $5,000 check anytime soon. In summary, is this plan a good idea? Well, first, let's address the pros. It would encourage Americans to report government waste. It could help reduce unnecessary spending, and it could put financial responsibility back in taxpayers' hands. Okay, now the cons. There's no guarantee there would be a payout. Government spending is still growing out of control, and Congress would actually have to approve the plan. And I don't see any political will on Capitol Hill for getting this done. Look, I love the idea of cutting wasteful spending and giving money back to the people, but not unless the federal government can solve its huge long-term fiscal shortfalls. It doesn't make sense to take money that could otherwise be used to balance the federal budget and stymie the growth of the national debt over time and give it to taxpayers in the form of a stimulus check. It's just not good fiscal policy. So given that these checks are not likely to arrive anytime soon, is there anything you can do to improve your finances right now? You can start by making sure that not a single year goes by where you aren't fully funding a Roth IRA for you and your spouse if you're married. That's $7,000 each if you're under age 50 and $8,000 each if you're over age 50. That's $1,166 per month if you're younger than age 50 and $1,333 per month if you're over age 50. Why go with the tax-free Roth IRA instead of the traditional tax-deferred IRA? Simple. Even with all the cuts that DOGE is recommending, it's not likely to change the trajectory of the national debt. We're likely to see the debt grow from $36 trillion to well over $60 trillion by 2035. The cost of servicing all that debt will force the federal government to dramatically increase taxes at that point in time. In fact, former Comptroller General of the federal government, David Walker, suggested that tax rates could have to double to keep our country solvent. Penn Wharton recently came out with a study that says that if we don't right our fiscal ship of state by 2040, that no combination of raising taxes or reducing spending will prevent the financial collapse of our nation. In other words, we're likely to see dramatically higher tax rates within the next 15 years. That's why Roth IRAs are so powerful. You see, you make contributions with after-tax dollars. In other words, you already paid taxes on these dollars at historically low tax rates. And when you take that money out post-2035, and so long as you're over age 59 and a half and 5 years have passed since your first Roth contribution or conversion, you get to take that money out 100% tax-free, regardless of how high tax rates have risen in the meantime. And if you happen to have a Roth 401k at work, make sure you're contributing at least up to the match. That's free money and represents an immediate return on your investment. And most companies these days will allow you to allocate the match to the Roth portion of your account. Okay, folks, what do you think about the DOGE dividend? Will it happen, or is it just another empty promise? Drop your thoughts into the comment section below. This is David McKnight. Thanks for watching.